Today on the Trent Out Loud podcast, Diddy has been charged, he has pled not guilty, and he has not gotten bail. Diddy will stay in jail until his court case. What up? It's your boy, Trent Out Loud, and I'm back with another episode. All right, it's Wednesday morning, hump day. Y'all know me already, my third favorite day of the week, and I got a good show set up for you guys today. Before I even start, I want to shout out everybody who supported yesterday's show. It was our biggest podcasting view ever of all time in our 2-year history. So shout out to everybody who supported and watched that episode 331, our breaking news with Diddy. Thank you very much for all your support, and we hope to continue all that viewership. All right, I got a hell of a lot more about Diddy for you. He's taking over all of our lead stories today. We're calling it the Diddy segment. We're going to go over his 14-page indictment and him pleading not guilty. We're going to go over his bail package, his inner circle being exposed. We're going to talk to you about Mrs.Harper and him calling her 54 times. We're going to talk about him being arrested with possession of drugs. Yes, Monday. People haven't talked about that. Monday, while he was being arrested, he was actually caught with narcotics. We're going to go over all the maximum and minimum charges he's facing. We're, of course, going to talk about the 1,000 bottles of baby oils that the Feds seized during his raid. We're going to talk about Kevin Liles, who is stepping down from Warner Brothers. And then finally, we're going to talk about the video proof of the freak-offs that the Feds caught and what that could mean for other potential celebrities in the game. Then when we're wrapped up with Diddy, we're going to talk about Rubi Rose, Kamala Harris. Rich Homie Quan was laid to rest yesterday. And then we're going to talk about Instagram opening up a new division strictly for teens. Then, as always, we're going to close out with question of the day and a little bit of sports news. Y'all know what time it is. Turn your TVs, your radio, or your devices up. I'm about to start this show. Let's go. All right, I'm going to start off with talking to you guys about the 14-page indictment. Of course, I'm not going to read the full 14 pages, but I'm going to highlight the parts of the indictment. Just jumping quickly ahead, Diddy has pleaded not guilty to all charges. One of the most important things to know, all right? We're also going to talk to you guys about him not getting bail. Diddy has been charged, he has pled not guilty, and he has not gotten bail. Diddy will stay in jail until his court case. There is also an appeal. We'll also talk about that. All right, so let's get back on track. All right, so the 14-page indictment. Here is the 14-page indictment against Sean Diddy Combs, unsealed this morning in Southern District of New York. Combs is charged with 3 counts: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, and transportation to engage in prostitution. All right, I'm going to read the first part of the indictment for you guys. For decades, Sean Combs, a.k.a. Puff Daddy, a.k.a. P. Diddy, a.k.a. Diddy, a.k.a. P.D., a.k.a. Love, the defendant, abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on his employees, resources, and influence of the multiple faceted business empires that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in, amongst other crimes, sex trafficking, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, battery, and obstruction of justice. All right, that is how the indictment starts off. A lot of people, I even hear them on CNN saying, what's this arson thing about? We in the hip-hop community, we know what that's about. That is him and Kid Cudi getting into an argument because Cassie called Kid Cudi, and allegedly, I don't want anybody to sue me, but allegedly, Diddy had a Molotov cocktail thrown inside his car and he blew up his car. It's not alleged. Kid Cudi already admitted to it, but it's alleged because I don't want to get sued. All right. Okay. So that is the indictment. Those are the charges laid against him. Now, after pleading not guilty, of course, what his lawyers did next was apply a bond package. They say this is one of the most extensive bond packages in the history of the criminal justice system. I'm going to read to you what this bond proposal was. A, The defendant proposes the following bail package. A, $50 million bond. Most of the time, people is like, $1 million would be a lot. $2 million will be actually almost unheard of. Diddy was offering $50 million, okay? B is co-signed by Sean Combs, his mother, his sister, the mother of his oldest daughter, and his 3 adult sons. Those are all the people who are willing to sign the bond, okay? Again, that is unprecedented. C, secure by equity in Mr. Holmes's residence located at 2 West Star Island in Florida. I've actually been outside of that house when I was in Florida. He says the appraisal value of that home is $48 million. The home is unencumbered, meaning has no mortgage, okay? In anticipation of this bail hearing on August the 20th, 2024, Mr. Combs paid off the remaining mortgage of around $18 million so that his home could be used as a secure bond, and it would be free of mortgage. Secure of equity of Mr. Holmes's mother's house located at 450 Alton Road in Miami, Florida. So he's giving up his Miami home, $48 million. He's giving up his mother's home located in Miami. Here's what else he wants. He's willing to give up. E, Mr. Combs's travel will be restricted to the South District of Florida and the Southern District of New York City to attend court, meet with counsel, and to attend medical appointments, which he will address to the court in a separate sealed submission, as well as the Eastern District of New York and the District of New Jersey, only to the extent of his travels in New York involving an airport in those districts. Meaning, yo, if you let me out on bond, I will only be in my residence in Florida. I will come up to New York for medical appointments, to talk to my lawyer, and to go to trial. I won't go anywhere else. Okay. F, Mr. Combs' passport was surrendered to his counsel on April 1st, 2024. His counsel advised the prosecution of this fact in an email dated on the same day. Counsel will provide this passport to pretrial services. All right. Giving up my passport, I cannot leave the United States of America. And the last thing is the passports of the following family members who have already surrendered their passports to counsel after the raid on Mr. Combs' home. Janice Combs, his mother, Chance Combs, his daughter, Jesse Combs, Delilah Combs, and Love Combs. All of his children have given up his passport. So everything that I read to you was an unprecedented proposal for bail. The judge said no. Jeez, yo. The judge said, nah, man, you're staying in jail. This guy literally gave up his whole family not traveling, paid off his home, giving up his houses, nothing. They said, nah, you are staying in jail. The reason why this is so huge is during the trial, there's going to be little wins and losses leading up to him being found guilty or not. But you can see how good the prosecution's case is by the little wins and losses throughout a trial. So this was significant in the first battle within the war, right? Think about it as little battles, and the whole war is, him being found guilty or not guilty. But the fact that this first thing of, hey, I have done everything, and I talked about this in yesterday's show. I will do everything. I'll cooperate. I will come to New York. I will surrender. I will do everything. I will put up my house. I'll give you my mother, my children, everything. Please don't put me in jail. And the judge was like, nah, you're going to jail. This is a huge loss for Diddy. This case could take anywhere from 6 months to a year to 2 years. Like I said yesterday, look at Young Thug, what he's going through. Diddy is staying in jail until he is found guilty or not guilty. Now, having said all of that, Diddy's lawyer announces that his team will be appealing the judge's ruling to keep him detained until trial. His lawyer said, Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's innocent. He is not afraid of the charges. He's ready to clear his name. So today, which is Wednesday, I don't even know what the date is, September the 18th, his lawyer will now be able to go to a whole new judge and appeal the decision to see if he can get bail. And again, for anybody who has gone through courts or has a family member or whatever go through court, going through a process in jail is completely different from being in your house fighting court. So If he loses this again, this is going to be another detrimental blow to Diddy. We will find this out. I will talk to you guys about it tomorrow, but they are fighting this bail. And the reason why I keep making such a big deal of it is, again, this could be 2 years of Diddy's life. If he gets found not guilty, he could still spend close to 2 years in jail. Listen to his lawyer. Here it is.
Appeal scheduled for tomorrow at 3:30. Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent. He came to New York to establish his innocence. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of the charges.
By the way, I have been listening to this case all yesterday, all today to do this podcast for you guys. I will say I really like his lawyer. He seems very calm and cool and collective. He seems very confident. He doesn't seem brash. He doesn't seem arrogant. He doesn't seem, just too over the top. He just seems like he's calm, cool, and collected. And that's what you need in a lawyer, because there's going to be a lot of emotions up and down, So I already like his choice of lawyer so far from the day that I have been watching him. So there's that. All right, let's talk about Diddy's inner circle being exposed. This is what a lot of people are talking about, okay? As the shocking racketeering cases against Sean Combs continue to unfold, disturbing new details have emerged about the involvement of his closest associates. According to the indictment, member of Combs' team, including high-ranking supervisors, security staff, personnel assistants, and even household employees, were deeply involved in facilitating the alleged criminal activities at the center of this legal storm. The indictment reveals that Combs, along with other members and associates of his business empire, leveraged his influence to intimidate and manipulate women into participating in elaborate sexual performances known as freak-offs. These events were reportedly organized under the guidance of romantic relationships, but once women were brought into Combs' inner circle, the reality was far darker. The freak-offs, which occurred both domestically and internationally, involved commercial sex workers engaging in extensive sexual acts, allegedly at Combs' direction. The indictment outlines how these events were meticulously arranged, with Combs and his team flying workers, booking hotels, and setting up environments for these performances. Member of Combs' enterprises even went as far to stock hotel rooms with essential freak-off supplies, including controlled substances, other materials, ensuring that everything was prepared for the multi-day event. What makes these allegations particularly troubling is the level of involvement from Combs' inner circle. The indictment claims that Combs' closest associates were instrumental in ensuring that the freak-offs went off without a hitch. These team members allegedly facilitated the transportation of commercial sex workers. All right, so when you hear that, you can think that that involves from literally like butlers and maids and housekeepers, etc., to like executives at his businesses. And that's what makes this a racketeering case, a RICO case. And this is what makes this case so devastating, and it not just being assault or sexual abuse. They're trying to make this seem like it's an organization, and he had his employees, and they're saying that Revolt, Bad Boy Entertainment, Ciroc, all of these companies, the people that were involved and worked for him knew about these freak-offs and helped facilitate these freak-offs. Now, what this article is not mentioning, and we'll actually talk about a little bit later too, is what about the people or the men that were not only helping put it together, but that were involved? That's the bigger story, right? That's why you hear like Jay-Z's name being floating around. Rappers, R&B artists like Trey Songz's name is floating around. And like I said, Kevin Liles, he made his first move, which I'll talk to you about. But this case is going to uncover a lot. A lot of the reasons why people think Diddy might get off is because he has videotapes of a lot of these freak-offs. Again, I'm going to talk to you about that soon. And who are in these videotapes? Now, it could work one or two ways. Diddy could say, listen, don't talk about me and I won't show them more videotapes. Or it could work for the defense, or it could work for the FBI, and the FBI could say, hey, Trey Songz, or hey, whoever is on these tapes, if you admit to doing these, we won't charge you, or we'll give you a lesser time if you say that Diddy was the kingpin. And that is from all my research, what I've learned and figured out is that they want Diddy. Like, they want him and him alone. The only way for them to take the attention off of him would be if Diddy would now give them somebody else, more like a Jay-Z or a political figure. So we'll see what comes out of this. But this whole inner circle, articles are not talking the truth. Articles are talking about, oh yeah, you know, people setting up bottles, setting up this, or booking hotel rooms. No, there's also people who were paying people. There's also like big executives of people's names who we know about in the music industry that are going to come out at one time or another, and that's what's going to be huge. All right. All right. So now let's move on to Diddy calling Mrs. Harper 54 times. All right. So Mrs. Harper was a member of Danity Kane. So we heard about Don Richard talking about Danity Kane, and this was one of the latest lawsuits. And this is one of the things that really hurt Diddy, all right? So this is what the AUSA said in court today, okay? So just remember, Miss Harper, she is one of the people that are in Don Richard's lawsuit, okay? So when that lawsuit came out, witnesses we have interviewed have expressed fear. The defendant has contacted witnesses who received grand jury subpoenas. He contacted at least one victim. Mrs. Harper was one of the people he contacted on September the 10th, about a week ago, when Don Richard filed her suit. And they also went on to say, before a September 14th statement by Mrs. Harper, the defendant called her 54 times in one day. All right, why is that important? All right, this is part of the evidence that they used to not give Diddy bail. Stupid of him to go and call Mrs. Harper 54 times in one day, because that seems like it's witness tampering. It goes to them alleging that he has been threatening women for the past 10 or 15 years. Stupid of him to do that. So this is one of the reasons why the judge doesn't want to let him out, because if he's out on bail, he could go out and start calling people, threatening people, or whatever. So they're like, no, we're going to keep you in jail. And this is one of the things they used against him, was the fact that he called Mrs. Harper 54 times in one day. Stupid of him to do. All right, now let's talk about the drugs they found on Diddy, which is another reason why I think they denied him bail. Listen to this. Prosecutors claim Diddy was found with suspected ecstasy in his hotel room the night of his arrest. Okay? He had what appeared to be narcotics found in his hotel room last night. Pink powder that has previously tested positive for ecstasy and other drugs. This is a Heartland detention case. His package is woefully inadequate. It only focuses on flight risk. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that during their case, they're saying that, hey, over the past 15 years, Diddy has been having sex with a bunch of people, sex workers or whatever. When they want to leave, he drugs them up, keeps them there, threatens them, and he does all of these things when he's high. So why is this not good for him to be arrested with these substances? Is the judge is looking at this saying, all right, should I let you out on bond? What kind of person have you been, let's say, maybe in the past week or so? Well, in the past week or so, you have called a witness that's been subpoenaed. Not only did you call her 54 times where it looks like it's harassment. And now, while we arrested you Monday night, you had ecstasy around you. Ecstasy, that's what was present when you were doing all these freak offs. So now I'm going to keep you in jail because it looks like you haven't really changed that much in your life. And when you're high on ecstasy, you're probably going to get back into doing these free offs and encouraging these women. So everything that he has done for the past month, let's say, moving to New York, I want to surrender, I'll work with you, I'll be cooperative, whatever, blah, blah. All of that goes out the window when you're arrested on Monday and you're found with ecstasy in your hotel room. Now, they had arranged for Diddy to turn himself in Tuesday, but the feds came in and arrested him on Monday. And everyone is like, hey, we don't know what happened. His lawyers are like, we don't know what happened. They think that his lawyers are like, oh, we think that maybe they just wanted him to look bad. No, they got wind that he was in possession with drugs, got wind that he had possession of ecstasy on him, and they arrested him with the ecstasy so that it would work against him for a bond hearing. Another stupid mistake that Diddy made. I just don't understand why you would do something so stupid. All right, let's move on to all of his charges and the possible sentencing that Diddy can face. All right, racketeering conspiracy, up to 20 years in jail. That's count one. That's charge one. Charge two, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion. Mandatory minimum, 15 years, maximum life sentence. Third charge, transportation to engage in prostitution, up onto 20 years. There's no minimum there, but up to 20 years. Kidnapping, up to life. That's the maximum. The fifth one, forced labor, up to 20 years. The sixth one, obstruction of justice, up to 10 years. If Diddy is convicted of all charges, he could face multiple decades in prison, with one count being possible of in life imprisonment. Like I said on yesterday's podcast, that was the title of the podcast. Diddy could face life in prison on more than one count. The only way for Diddy, I mean, Diddy's what, 54, 55 years old? The only way for Diddy to live the rest of his life somewhat normal is for him to beat all these charges. If he gets found on even half of these charges, he could go away for 20, 30 years, man. He'll be coming out when he's like 84, 85 years old, maybe 90 years old. Diddy is in a lot of trouble. All right, let's go on to the feds finding all the supplies and narcotics and what everybody online is making fun of, that the feds claim they found 1,000 bottles of lubricant and baby oil. All right, all jokes aside, why this is funny, why this is not funny actually, is a normal person will have, I don't know, let's say 1 or 2 bottles of lubricant. Let's say somebody who's very sexually active, maybe have 3 or 4. For one man to have 1,000 bottles of baby oil, that is something that shows that you have a problem. That's why that's significant. Again, people are laughing online. Oh, Johnson & Johnson's stock is going up. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, there's all kinds of jokes that I can't even say on the radio here. But why this is significant, and they also said, I'll read it to you here. It says, feds found freak-off supplies, including narcotics and 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. The indictment refers to seizures at the raid at Diddy's Beverly Hills and Miami home. The freak-off supplies include narcotics, 1,000 bottles of baby oil lubricant. They also seized firearms, including 3 AK-15 style rifles with defaced serial numbers and drum magazines. Yo, that gun stuff, sure, that's not great, obviously. But I'm telling you, those 1,000 bottles of baby oil is an indication that that man has a problem. It shows that he's obsessive. They're going to use that 1,000 bottles to show that this was not a person just having sex on the weekend or having fun. This is somebody who is obsessive, and that leads to him drugging women and him having a problem and keeping women there and almost keeping them as his sex slaves. This 1,000 bottles is going to be so significant. Now, let me just go off the script for 1 second and just explain to you guys something that is really important. Like I've said to you guys a couple of times, that this is a federal case. It's not about abuse, sexual abuse, it's sexual racketeering. Now, a lot of people online, and I even heard on CNN, one of the correspondents said there is a couple of holes in the case here, and that is everybody was cooperative, right? That it was, hey, do you want to be part of this? Sure. You want to pay me? Sure. You want to come be part of the freak-offs? Sure. So everybody was accepting of this. Nobody was forced. Here's the problem, okay, is that if somebody comes to your house willingly, that was the word I was looking for. Everybody was a willing participant. Hey, you're willing to come to Diddy's mansion party? Sure. I'm sure there's a lot of girls that would say, yes, you hear this all the time with celebrities, right? Yeah, sure. I'm down. Cool. Freak off. Cool. We have sex the whole day. Cool. Okay, I'm ready to leave. Nah. We're not ready for you to leave. Diddy likes you. You're going to stick around. They drug them up. This is what the sex trafficking, this is what the coercion, this is what the kidnapping, this is what the traveling over state lines, this is the RICO charge. So although that everybody was initially willing participants, It is illegal to drug somebody up so much, coerce them, intimidate them, threaten them. You cannot leave. This is what the case is all about. And this is what his defense attorney is going to fight. Hey, my client, Diddy, is rich. He likes having sex. And you're going to hear, I'm going to read you something here. I think I already read it where he said he's an imperfect person, but he's not guilty of anything. The case is going to be, hey, my client is very sexual active. You want to even say he has a problem with sex? He's a sex addict? Sure, that's why we have those 1,000 bottles of lubricant. However, he didn't do anything wrong because everybody was a willing participant. These girls wanted to take drugs. They didn't want to leave. There's going to have to be evidence that shows that he forcefully kept them there. And like I said, the videotape with Cassie and him abusing her outside the elevator is not evidence that cannot be used in evidence. That can be used to show as an example of something he did do in the past, and it could show his character, but that's not what he's on trial for. So, but again, that 1,000 bottles makes it seem like he's excessive, like he's a little bit crazy. So it's really going to come into play. All right, let's move on to Kevin Liles, okay? This is really, really significant because like I said to you earlier about his inner circle, and again, not the assistant, the homeboy, the people who we know, the other famous people in the music industry. The first person that has made a move is Kevin Liles. For those of you who don't know, Kevin Liles is, you know, I don't want to say one of the godfathers of hip hop, but he's up there, okay? He worked at Def Jam under Russell Simmons, and Russell Simmons is the godfather of hip hop. By the way, Russell Simmons has his own problems with sex trafficking and all of this stuff or whatever. So anyways, Kevin Liles steps down from WMG after Diddy's arrest. Hip-hop mogul industry vet Kevin Liles is resigning from Warner Music Group executive VP gig. On Tuesday, Liles sent a company memo announcing his resignation as chairman and CEO of Warner Music 300 Elektra Entertainment chairman, passing the torch to seasoned vets. Okay, after a decade of time, I'm passing the torch, blah, 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 blah. Liles has been at Warner since 2004, which formerly housed Diddy's Bad Boy Records. And he has been a vocal defendant of the mounds of allegations against Diddy. See? So this is part of his inner circle. Of course, the biggest music industry news today was that of Diddy's indictment, prosecutors' investigation, any felonies, freak off, and anybody else who was involved. We spoke to Kevin Liles in April. He told us he never knew the Diddy who got plastered in the media after all these allegations were made, and he is going to stick by him. So in the media, I don't know this guy who you're plastering as this horrible person. I don't know this guy. I just know the business end of our relationship. All of a sudden, Kevin Liles is stepping down. Very, very significant. Okay, last thing I want to talk to you guys about is the proof of the freak-offs, which is crazy. U.S. attorney reveals they seized video evidence of Diddy's freak-off parties during previous house raid. Here's a little clip. Take a listen.
Part of this investigation, special agents from HSI executed search warrants. They also executed a warrant for COMBS' electronic devices. They seized firearms and ammunition. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims.
All right, why I left that to the end is there's proof, there's people on the tapes. Who is going to be revealed? What celebrity is going to be involved in this case? That's what everybody is waiting for. Diddy secretly recorded the freak-offs. Who's going to be on his tapes? What rappers? What entertainers? What political figures? How many tapes are there? Is it just sex workers? It's like this can change the music industry and the entertainment industry as we know. Everybody went to Diddy's parties, bro. Everybody. You've heard for years about legendary parties at Diddy's house. If these videos leak one day, I'm predicting that this could be one of the biggest shifts in the entertainment industry, and the people at the top are no longer going to be there. We could see one of the biggest shifts in the entertainment industry because Never have we have something like this been recorded and captured on videotape. What is on those videotapes? Who is on those videotapes? And how much is going to be revealed? And are those videotapes going to leak? Stay tuned. Keep it locked. You guys know I will bring you the latest and the greatest from this case. I'm invested. Stay tuned. Like I said again, episode 331 was our biggest podcast ever in 2 years. The most views on YouTube, most likes, most comments. Thank you very much for you guys' support. I will continue working hard for y'all. Keep it locked to the Channel Law Podcast. I will give you up-to-date Diddy news as well as the rest of the show, obviously. But keep it locked. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any other info. Let me know if I forgot anything. Send me an email, trent@cfqr600.com. Comment below or send me a DM at any of my social handles at Trent Out Loud. All right, this brings us to quick news. Ring my bell. All right, I'm running really low on time, so I'm going to get to quick news like it was speed news, all right? Rubi Rose says she never slept with Druski. She said that N-word paid for PR, not the P-word, the female genitalia. I told you guys this. I know I like to toot my own horn a lot when I'm right, but I got to do what I got to do, all right? I told you guys repeatedly, Druski and Rubi Rose, that was set up. I never believed the relationship. Everyone was like, why can't he find love just because he's a big dude? That was complete PR, and finally happy that Rubi Rose has come out and said this. She said, I don't know how the conversation got started, but she said on Twitter, and for the record, I never slept with that man. That situation was just PR, not the P word, all right? He's funny and nice, though. She said, I only give it up if I'm in love, and I don't care how much money an N-word got. I'm rich on my own. So there we have proof. PR, it was a stunt. A lot of these things happen in Hollywood, man. A lot of these things, people are even saying that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift is set up and paid for by the NFL to get more attention to the NFL. A lot of the things that we see on social media are not real. All right, in our second quick story, Kamala Harris goes off on Donald Trump for spewing Haitian migrant hate. She said, it's a crying shame. The American people need and want better than this. I have a little clip, but I'm actually not going to play it because, like I said, I'm really low on time. This was Kamala Harris talking at the Black Journalists Association. I watched it all yesterday. It was like a half an hour long. She was so amazing. A lot of people are like, oh, she's ducking journalists. She's ducking questions. These Black journalists asked her amazing questions. They grilled her. She tried to do her presidential thing and go around. They asked her about the war. You know, she tried to be very political and presidential, which is what presidents do. And they forced her to answer. She answered. She did an amazing job. The journalists did an amazing job as well, too. By the way, this was the Black Journalists Association that Donald Trump went on last month and said, I didn't know Kamala was Black. First, I know that she was Indian. Now she's Black. And this was the whole crazy thing of like, why should we let Trump even in here? Such a stark contrast of Donald Trump at this journalism conference versus Kamala Harris. She was so presidential. She was amazing. And like I said, even though she didn't answer every single question directly, that's what politicians do. You know what I mean? And a journalist is supposed to do their due diligence and ask them back. But the questions that she did answer were amazing. I mean, I always liked and respected Kamala Harris. I had a newfound respect for her. If you guys have half an hour, Google this interview and watch it for those of you who question Kamala Harris's policies and question about her ducking questions from journalists. Watch this interview and let me know what you think. All right, in our third quick story, Rich Homie Quan was laid to rest yesterday in beautiful fashion by his family. We continue to keep his loved ones in our prayers. Again, I had a clip of this, but I don't have time to play it. Rich Homie Quan, we talked about this last week, him passing away from what we think is a drug overdose. Beautiful funeral, laid to rest. A lot of people, looks like they almost did this like in a stadium or something. But sad that everyone's talking about Diddy right now and this is rushing over because Rich Homie Quan is, a legend in this rap game. So salute to Rich Homie Quan and his entire family. May he rest in peace. All right, in our fourth and final quick story, Instagram introduces special account for teens with built-in privacy protections. Instagram revealed on Tuesday the introduction of specialized accounts tailored for teenage use, featuring enhanced privacy measures. According to ABC News, the new profile, referred to as teen accounts, will be automatically created for all users under 18, whether they are existing members of the platform or new users registering for the first time. Instagram has implemented a new policy requiring users under the age of 16 to obtain parental consent before modifying their account settings. This initiative, which is anticipated to affect millions of users, was disclosed by Instagram's CEO during a live segment on Good Morning America. All right, I did watch this interview actually, and like they asked them on there, I had the same question. How are you going to know who's 18 or not? Here's the thing. This is going to affect existing members. So if you normally went to sign in and said, hey, this is my birthday, whatever, they already know your age. And mostly everybody who's on Instagram, who is going to be on Instagram, is already on Instagram. So the people who are under 18, you're going to get a different teenage account. It's going to have policies. They're going to restrict some of the things that you could see. They're going to keep it more kid friendly. And if you tried now to go in and change your age, they're going to know that you are trying to change your age and they're going to block you. They're not going to let you. And if you try to do it from another phone, they said that they'll know the history from the account of wherever it is. So they have a lot of ways to find out if you're trying to change your account. A lot of people are not happy about this, but of course parents are happy about it because, you know, social media could be a bullying kind of dangerous place for kids. So I don't know 100% how I feel about it, but yeah, I guess it's a good thing. I guess it's a good thing because there's a lot of kids out there that, you know, get in trouble on social media. So yeah, I'm all for it. All right, this brings us to question of the day. What's the most unusual compliment somebody has given you on a date? All right, I got to go through this one quickly. So Simply Juicy said that I smell clean. Yeah, that's kind of weird telling somebody you smell clean. Say you smell nice, but lad. Miss Cole 82 said, your life sounds fun. I need to put a baby in you to sit you down. You're too free out here. What? What kind of compliment is that? Sweet September 82 said, this man told me I had beautiful ankles in 07. We got married and had 3 kids though. That's a little bit weird. That's a little bit weird to say that you have nice ankles. I am one though to compliment on things that are not like common, like, oh, you got a nice whatever, like nice eyes, like whatever, everybody says that. But I do think people appreciate when you notice something else, right? Like, yo, I really like your eyebrows, or even not that, but not your ankles, yo, that's a little pushing it because that's a little creepy. It's a little bit weird. Public figure DMV said, you look better in person. Somebody said to her that she looks better in person. Yeah, that's kind of rude. That is definitely an unusual compliment. Somebody else wrote, if you have any flaws, they're definitely not in your appearance. Okay, that's kind of weird. All right, Anderson82 said, somebody said I had a great hairline. I don't think that's unusual. Somebody could say that. See, those are the kind of things I think that are nice. Ankles are weird. Saying you got a nice hairline, or by the way, your eyebrows are really dope. Like, I think those are cool. Somebody said, yeah, one guy told me he likes my baby hairs. It's not bad. Lillian Smith 82 said, somebody once told me that I have the cutest, smallest ears they've ever seen. A little unusual, but I don't think that's that bad. All right, I'll read 2 more. This guy asked me if I had fake teeth. I was like, no, sir. I go to the dentist regularly and I had braces. But thanks for telling me I got a pretty smile. It's a little bit unusual, but I get how it could come off nice. Last one is Ike Lukchich 82 said, one time I was on a date, but this girl complimented my beatboxing and she's had my heart ever since. Bro, how are you beatboxing on a date, bro? That is horrible. Yeah, let's just end it off there and go to sports news. All right, this brings us to sports news. Dolphins are placing quarterback Tua on injured reserve. As you guys know, Tua suffered a concussion, his 4th concussion, and they're going to put him on injured reserve for 4 weeks, a minimum of 4 weeks. What is key about this is that Tua just signed, I think, like a $250 million contract. And what the NFL is saying is that if Tua himself decides, you know what, guys, I'm going to be more concerned for my health and I'm going to leave football, I think he only gets like $20 or $30 million. If the NFL, because of their concussion protocol, if they say, Tua, you've had too many concussions, this is too dangerous, we're not allowing you to play, he gets to keep $225 million and doesn't have to work again a day in his life. Now, having said all of that, the money is great, but potentially losing your mind and, you know, having dementia or whatever these diseases come from having concussions is not fun, right? So, you know, getting a $250 million check and then, you know, 5 years later, you don't even know what your own name is. It's sad, right? So the situation itself is sad, but the money part of it, you know, what do you do at that point? You know what I mean? Like, do you have them tell you what to do, or do you take it upon yourself? Remains to be seen. Anyways, that's it. Thank you so much for sticking around. I know I was a little bit longer than usual today, but thank you for checking out the Try Not Loud podcast. Let's make this the second most viewed podcast in our history. Before I let you guys go, just want to remind you guys of all the ways for you to stay up to date with the podcast. If you're used to watching on YouTube or listening on podcast platforms, please try to check me out weekdays from Monday to Friday from 11 to 12 on CFQR600.com. You can log on from any device anywhere in the world. Just go onto the website, click listen live, and you will hear me from 11 to 12 or 600 a.m. on the radio if you're in the Montreal area. We do play the Try Not Loud podcast, but we mix it in with 90s and 2000s hip hop and R&B. It's a great way to listen to the podcast. Vice versa, if you're used to listening to this on CFQR 600 and you can't always catch the show from 11 to 12, don't worry. We upload every episode to YouTube and to podcast platforms. And just go to your desired site, type in Trent Out Loud. The show will pop up. Don't forget to hit the follow and subscribe button so that you can be notified every time we upload a new show. And if you're like me and you like to watch your podcast, Spotify now supports video. So you have YouTube and video to watch the videos. Lastly, check me out on any of my social platforms at any social media platform. I'm trying to rush. Handle is Trent Out Loud. Check out the media company, Exclusivity Media on Instagram. And for those who are listening on CFQR, stay tuned for the next hour. Don Smooth, hip hop, R&B, all the classics. Stay tuned for Don Smooth, the Don Smooth Mix at Lunch Hour. I got to find out what the name of his show is, man. But anyways, stay tuned for Don Smooth, man. Peace! Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's your boy, Trent Out Loud. Peace!